Hey everyone, this is TurwaithionX, and welcome back to World of Tanks and a new gameplay commentary. Now, I really wasn't expecting to do another one of these so soon after the first, but this game, which I had a mere 3 days after my astron game, really deserved commentary. So today, I was playing in my IS-32, the double-barreled Tier 9 Soviet heavy tank, and I was playing with my platoon mate BLA-60 in his M46 pattern as he's going up at the top of the tree. So, in this gameplay, rather nice matchup again. 4 Tier 9 tanks, the rest of Tier 8. Rather unusual for the HK server. We were actually getting a lot of really strange matchups on this day. You can hear, apologies for the incessant clicking of the double barrels there. That is, I don't know, I like to have a bit of fun with it. Yeah, we've been getting quite a few strange matchups on the HK server recently. There are a lot of Tier 8, 9 and 10 matchups, which is rather unusual, particularly when you play in Tier 10. Now what I wanted to do here is I wanted to go into this position and go hull down. Now unfortunately the TNH had taken the position from me, so I was trying to use them as a bit of a hull down position as well. You can see them rather zoomed in here, not sure why. I did have a couple of issues with my zoom in this game where I was just zoomed in way too far in the air. You see I rectify it there. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to wait for this TNH to fire their 2 shots and retreat, and then I'm just going to take the position from them, because they're reloading, they don't need to use it. And hopefully I can come up and start hitting this 50 TP in the cupolas, which, unless the Russian gun decides otherwise, I should be able to hit. Now I spot a Skoda on my left, and unfortunately react slightly too slowly. This is a bit annoying, because I had quite a nice position to shoot that 50 TP up through the top, but that Skoda is just being annoying there. But fortunately for me, BLA manages to nail them in the sight, and I hopefully get a good shot into their cupola, but as I said, it's a Russian gun, and it's not always the best. So bounce 1 from 50 TP, who's fortunately for me just firing standard rounds at my turret. This turret is very penable by high explosive anti-tank rounds particularly, or very high pen APCR rounds due to just being quite flat. Now there we go, one great round through the cupola of the 50 TP to start off the damage. Bit of a low roll for 359, but nonetheless, it's a start. Now what I was quite lucky with in this replay is the artillery just seems to not want to shoot this location. Which is quite unusual. Often the artillery will position themselves somewhere over at K8 or K9 and try and shoot into the heavies. Now there's 50 TP, they can't pen me there, they clearly just seem to be nailing my gun just for the hell of it. Unfortunately for me, that Skoda gets me in the side, but they get themselves tracked. So all I'm trying to do is keep them tracked here and hopefully kill them, and their repair time will be slow enough, but in waiting for my other shot to reload, this Skoda manages to reverse. And hopefully they will no longer be a pest due to their low health, but I guess we shall just have to wait and see. Now I see another opportunity at the 50 TP, but take a fairly rush shot, and you might have seen there how the reticle jumped into the ground. I'm not really sure what was going on there. A little bit strange. I didn't particularly aim the shot that well anyway, so it's a chancy shot. It was a chancy shot. And here we go again. I still got 40 seconds on my repair kit, but the 50 TP is just shooting my gun for the hell of it. And now I have to try and snipe a 50 TP's cupola with my gun broken in an already very Soviet tank. This 53 TP is being a little bit annoying and just grinding their tank against mine. They seem to enjoy the sound of metal on metal and my turret sticking through theirs. Strange thing to think about, but you know, here we go. 50 TP's back. I take a shot. Aimed it well, fortunately a bounce. Broken gun might have something to do with that, maybe, possibly. I guess we shall see. At this point, game's still relatively even. We are 2 tanks down, but hit points are relatively even. I don't even know what I was shooting at then. Very, very delayed reaction. You might notice up in the top left of my screen though, I was struggling with ping on the day that this replay was taken. Normally my ping to the HK sits around between 150 to 170, which is hardly ideal, but the player numbers on the ANZ server are so low that it's not really playable at high tier, particularly in a platoon. But you can see here today my ping was sitting around 250 or 260. But what I decide is to leave that position. We have 2 tanks there, 2 good tanks there to go hull down, and we have no one getting crossfire on that 50 TP because the moisture had died. And I felt like I could push up here because BLA, my platoon mate, had pushed up to that ship over at F0. Now here I can see the 50 TP and I can get a good shot in, unfortunately a non-pen. Bit of a tough shot being below the 50 TP, but you know, it's what it is. And I was just hoping at this point that my gun had missed a few, maybe it would start behaving sometime. Whether it does, that remains to be seen. But at this point in the replay, I had 900 hit points out of my 1800, and I had only done 686 damage, which is 2 low rolls. But then I see something very interesting, is that SMV CC67 got very overconfident, and I just started to come around this corner, preparing a double shot, and ooh, this could be tasty. Yeah. 784 into the side of the SMV, and as soon as I do that, the Emil 2 there really just starts to back off. Like, oh, that's an IS-3 too. I don't particularly feel like taking 800 to the face, and so they should reverse. They should get out of the way and hopefully leave the rest of our tanks alone. So having done that, having killed the SMV, I decide to go back to deal with that 50 TP, who is now left on only 334 hit points, which makes them a one-shot almost all of the time for me, unless I almost min-roll my shots. So I decide to sit here. Firstly, there's a Skoda. He's got a bigger cupola than the 50 TP, so it's a relatively easy shot there. I shot him down. This 50 TP looks like they're getting a little bit overconfident there. I actually had a small shot on the side of the turret, but we decided to wait for the reload, fluff the shot into the wall. Half a chance for that shot. I should have shot it earlier, not waited for the reload perhaps. I'm just keeping an eye on the minimap at this point as well, as I'm aiming for the 50 TP on the Emil 2. That was a brilliant shot into the top of the 50 TP. I knew my gun would have to start behaving eventually. Now, I decide instead of pushing that southern flank, I'm going to try and help with that Emil 2 and that M4 Yo. Now the TNH is coming up behind the Yo as well, but they're also getting shot by a Skoda. So I decide, well, the Emil is unspotted, they might be around the corner. But fortunately for me, they were reversing, and I managed to get a nice shot into them. Now I was really hoping here that I might be able to prepare a double into the Progetto, but unfortunately they went down behind the cover. So I thought, look, here's a Skoda, low health, I may as well pressure him, he looks like he's reloading. Again, I'm way too zoomed in here, and I realise that, go back to the ×8. And now I am up to 5 kills, 2,300 damage, and I try and pressure this Yo, and something funky happened with my zoom just there. I zoomed in, and apparently I was on the ×16, whereas previously I was on the ×8. Don't know what happened there. I really shouldn't have been on the ×8 anyway. I may have just pressed the zoom reel the wrong way, but at this point I was thinking, damn, that could have just cost me a Top Gun, that fluffing of the zoom wheel there. And a bit strange. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Now, we're in an awkward position here. We are up a tank, and up 1,200 hit points. But the enemy team still has 2 medium tanks on a decent amount of their health, and we just have BLA on 370 health in the pattern, which means they are pretty much a one-shot for most of the enemy team. The only things that they are not are the Kampfpanzer and the Progetto, who will probably outspot the stock pattern anyway. So that severely limited our vision. Now I decided to popular TD position. I'm going to blind fire it. Whether that hit or not, I guess we'll see at the end of the game. But at this point, it was just a game of patience. We were sort of all stuck in the middle a little bit here. We could branch out from there, but we did have to be careful of medium tanks, artilleries and tank destroyers getting crossfire, as that Chieftain Proto was clearly spotted from the one line as they were crossing there and got shut down by the Su-130PM. Now BLA decides to take a risky play, come across, and I decide to blind fire where that Chieftain was, where the Chieftain prototype was destroyed from, but unfortunately I missed the shot. Now I see Chieftain prototype pushing the Stritzfang dies, and I'm hoping maybe as the Chieftain goes up I might be able to get them in the side, but they're behind a rock already. However, I managed to put a rather lucky run considering the Soviet nature of this gun into the side of the Chieftain, reducing them to a one-shot, and hopefully our SMV will be able to finish them off. Or maybe me? Nah, they're sitting behind a rock. All is well. And at this point, we were just up by a tank and 1,200 hit points. Briefly there, we were down by 3 tanks and almost 2,000 hit points. And I'm just sitting here on 500 hit points, hoping that, well, not necessarily hoping, but just in a rather difficult position where if I move I could very easily get spotted by a medium tank on the one line and crossfired by a tank destroyer as the chieftain did. But I just think I need to chill here. Just for a minute, see who gets spotted and what unfolds. I don't really know where the enemies are going to come from, but they do have a platoon of tier 8 medium tanks with quite high DPM, or a clip. And I did start to get a little bit worried that I might just be rushed by that Kampfpanzer 07RH and that Progetto 46, and they could tear me apart probably within the space of about 4 seconds due to the Progetto's clip and the Kampfpanzer's reload. Decided to take one more shot up to the TDs, hoping the SU may have gone back into their bush location on top of the hill. However, I thought it was probably a miss. Probably a bit late for that sort of play. You may be wondering why I was pinging that. I was just wondering why there was a ping there in the first place. No one in who was alive I thought had done that ping. But it was there. So I was just seeing why it was there, if it was me who was actually doing it, and if it would disappear if I clicked it twice. Never mind, I do some strange things inside the game, it is what it is. At this point I thought, I've been chilling here for too long. I need to make a play. The UDES has been spotted overneath the artillery, so I decide to go and try and help the artillery out so that they wouldn't get shut down by the UDES. I thankfully don't get spotted making that play, but disaster, the SMV gets killed by the artillery. I guess they were spotted either by a medium tank up on the A line or by the UDES, and that artillery puts in a very nice shell against the UDES, and I come round the corner and put a nice shot into the UDES to secure a top gun. You might notice there that my reticle was actually facing up for a second. That's a strange thing that happens in World of Tanks sometimes, where if you're too close to a building and you go into the zoom mode, your gun will point up, and it can be quite awkward in close quarters buildings. So a tank had entered the cap, and I was hoping that I might be able to catch him, and there it is. It's a Kampfpanzer 07RH. But a nice shot in them for 409 damage, and they managed to hit the track of my tank, which was rather lucky considering the pike nose of the IS-32. It's not actually a brilliant sidescraper. It's a lot better at reverse sidescraping than sidescraping normally, due to the fact that you can actually hit this whole frontal part of the tank in there, and it will be very, very penable indeed. So right now I'm just waiting for the Kampfpanzer. They clearly overextend, shut them down, getting my 7th kill of the game and 3,755 damage. And at this point, it is myself on 7 kills in a 500 health heavy tank and a Ferdinand sitting at the back on 1,000 hit points against a full health Stritzfang, a Progetto 46 and about a third of their health, a low health SU and an artillery still. Which was rather awkward. Now it's 2 minutes left on this game and a complete lack of health on our team. I'd sort of thought to myself, this is going to be a very tough one to win, because I can't go searching for any of those tanks because they will just outspot me, apart from the artillery obviously. They would just outspot me, so I asked the Ferdinand to spot the 9-0 line, because I can pretty much catch anyone coming out of the base at this point, and there we go, there is a Progetto. I think maybe I can shoot them through here, maybe not. The rocks are blocking my way, unfortunately. But I was very hesitant to push here because of the potential to be spotted by the 0 line. So for the moment, I'm just be patient. I see if I can get a shot on the Progetto, but it is clear that they are not going to move from their position. A minute 40 left, again hard to win, so I decide to make a play. I look right, hopefully won't get spotted from there. Thankfully I don't, and I'm going to beeline for the Progetto here. See if I can get my 8th kill of the game. No tanks on the left, didn't get spotted, very nice. So at this point, 7 kills, Progetto on 600 health. I was thinking, hey, I got my first Radley Walters medal on my account 3 days ago in the Astron Rex. I've played 10,500 games, probably closer to 10,700 games before that Radley Walters. I tried to put in the double to finish them off, but thankfully I don't fire. Cancel the double just in time as the Progetto goes around, and the artillery tries to hit me, thankfully not doing any damage. I clear the stun to get the shot. Hopefully the Progetto doesn't high roll their knock shot. They were very close. They high rolled for 300 out of 240 and then hit my track, and I escape on 15 health, securing my 2nd Radley Walters medal on my account, a mere, probably less than 50 games after my first one, after it took me so long, 10,700 games, to get that first Radley Walters medal. Now I'm thinking, well, it's 30 seconds left. I can't drive across the map, but here's an SU, 9 kills, it's a new kill record. Let's go. New kill record. 3 days after the previous one was set. This time, Tech Tree Tier 9 tank. That felt good. That felt good. Now I think, well, there's 10 seconds left on the game. There's not a whole lot I can do here. I can't find a Stritzwagen or a artillery on the other side of the map, and I just say, well, okay, I'll take it. It is a damn good game. Unfortunately, it's a draw, and unfortunately the fluffed zoom on the M4 Yo meant that I, for the second time this week, missed out on a fool's medal. Rather unfortunately, but 9 kills, I will take that any day of the week. And this 9 kills ended up netting me an ace tanker this time as well for my 4,637 damage, and a little bit of assistance in there as well. Got a Bradley Walters medal and a high caliber naturally for doing almost 2 times more than the next person on my team. We had a couple of heavy tanks to 0 in there, which is really not good, and I even made a few credits. I'm not using a premium account at the moment because I don't have one. But it was a rather nice game, and I was a bit more pleased with this one than I was with the Astron one, because in this particular replay, I just knew that it was always going to be a difficult one to win, and just wanted to do as well as I could, and I got a reward with my 9 kills. Now, I thought after the Astron game, it's going to be another few thousand games before I get another Bradley Walters surely, and it wasn't. But hey, bit lucky there. And I think probably the same here. If I get a Bradley Walters medal in the next 1,000 games, I'm going to be majorly surprised. But I seem to be playing a bit better recently. This is the high damage or high kill games seem to be getting a little bit more common. My KD's gone up, my WN8's gone up recently, and so hey, it's what it is. Love it. Anyway, if you guys want to see more gameplay, or hopefully more gameplay like this, come along, watch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/TurwaithionX. I normally stream on Friday evenings most of the time, but I also put the full VODs up as well as highlights, and I guess a couple of gameplay commentaries up on my YouTube as well. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this one. It was quite a long and interesting game of World of Tanks there, unfortunately ending in a draw, but can't be disappointed with 9 kills, second Bradley Walters on the account, and a new kill record. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.